Okay, so today you're gonna watch me roast a Costa Rica for the second time, and I'm gonna try to improve on a previous profile. This second time roast means that I just got this Costa Rica in a couple of weeks ago. I've only done one test run with it, and now I'm going to be doing my second test run based on my original kind of guesstimate profile to see how it would go. Okay, so let's take a look at what I did last time and see what I can improve on. So I'm checking out this area right here. I see there's quite a bit of a dip, and it kind of implies that like maybe I didn't come in with enough heat in the first part of this, as well as maybe I could have maybe charged a little earlier. But here's the thing. Whenever you're going to do an adjustment to a previous profile, you don't want to make too many adjustments because you don't know which adjustment actually improves or makes it worse. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a modification to the heat. I'm just going to make a modification to the heat. I'm going to go from a 6 to a 6.5. And I'm going to see how that goes. I'm going to be roasting 3.6 pounds going into the hopper, and that means it's going to yield me about 3 pounds. My drum speed is at 75. My air is at 50. And I'm going to preset my KPAs. So as you can see, my KPA right now is like 2 for hovering because I'm warming it up. I'm going to turn it all the way up to basically what is 6.5. I don't have 6.5 on my gauge, so I'm guesstimating it to be about 6.5. All right, so I'm going to cut the heat, and then I'm going to hit start on my artisan now, because if I hit the heat too early, that drop from cutting the heat will like kind of be like a ghost charge, and it'll indicate that I've actually started charging. So I'm going to hit start. And now I'm officially, you can see the temperature's dropping. So I'm going to, actually one other thing that I'm going to do. I know I just told you that I'm only going to do one thing, but actually I'm going to do one other thing too. Instead of charging at 355, I'm going to charge it at 365, which means I'm going to drop it. And I'm going to make some different adjustments in terms of the gas because I'm going to be adjusting for the new changes I've made. But I'm basically going to drop the beans into the hopper at 375 and then charge it at 365. Okay, so I'm coming up on 375. And then everything else should stay the same except for the gas adjustments, because obviously I'm going to have to make adjustments based on now these new little things. Okay, so I keep one finger on timing. I'm going to keep the 1 minute soak. I'm at 65 right there. I'm going to hit the timer and drop my beans in. It should auto charge for me. Boom. Okay, 363 is where it auto charged. What do I mean by auto charge? Basically, it charges when I drop the beans in. Oh, I've got to record right here. The air is at 50, and I'm going to just kind of mouse my KPAs to 6.5. So I'm going to do the 6.5. I don't do the 6.5 based on the artisan. I do the, I'm sorry, I don't do the 1 minute based on artisan. I do the 1 minute, even though it's a couple of seconds difference, based on my roaster. Because that's the true one. That's exactly when I dropped it in. That's exactly when I hit the button. So at 1 minute, I'm going to hit the heat, and I'm going to do 65. And I'm going to see how that makes a difference. So I've got 5 seconds away. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and heat. That's at 65. Record it at 65. Beautiful. Okay. So this is actually a good time. I'm going to interrupt the roast here real quick to let you guys know that I'm roasting on a Yoshan roaster. This roaster I purchased about 4 years ago. I was going down the path of purchasing a commercial roaster. I couldn't afford to get myself a Diedrich or a Probat or any of the other, major brands. I didn't have 10 grand or 20 grand to blow. I found this roaster for, all in for under $5,000 delivered to my door. If you're interested in getting a roaster like mine, I have a great relationship with Yoshan. They offered me, for any of the people watching my videos that are interested in learning how to roast coffee and doing it on their own, I can get you a discount on the roaster. I can also get you some free gifts, extended warranty, all of that good stuff. If you're interested, just email me, rob@ocdcoffeeclub.com, and I'll connect you with my source at Yoshan and hook you up with that discount. All right, let's get back to the roast. So now let's see what kind of difference that makes. If you can see on my graph here, it looks like my ROR reached around 45 maybe last time, right around the 2-minute mark. And let's see what I climb up to now coming out of this. So I'm climbing up nice and high. And let's see what happens. It's so funny how even though you make changes, and because I'm outside and there's an environmental factor, right? Right now it's 70 degrees in my garage, whereas last time it might have been 60 degrees. It might have been a little bit cooler. So now I'm at 41 ROR. You could see that's where it says bean temp. I'll jump into 44. Looks like it's bouncing up just like beyond where it was that time or last time, which is fine. And we're going to see how that affects. It's operating just above where the last one was, which is kind of what I wanted, because I didn't like, if you look at my graph, I didn't like this kind of dip down right here, this like weird dip. So I'm coming in with a little more heat, and I'm still going to make the adjustment down to 5 probably around the same time. But this is going to speed up my roast, which is okay. Okay, so I still have a little drop here. Hopefully I bounce back up. We'll see what happens. The red, which is my bean ROR, I'm sorry, my air ROR, rate of rise, that is, sorry, that's the air temperature. That is a little bit hotter than last time, which is expected. Yep, so I'm operating higher here at the 6.5. And it's a little more erratic. Now that could be I'm using a 3mm probe. It could be also that, or sorry, 2mm probe. It could be that, you know, the way the beans are bouncing off the probe. But we'll see if I have that dip, which is around the 4-minute mark, this dip right here. See if that exists as well, or if it cuts straight across. But you can see I'm definitely going to reach dry end earlier than 5:18, which is where I was last time. Okay. It's a little more, it seems a little more erratic, but the environmental temperature, the yellow line, is indicating that I'm basically just steadily coming down. It's interesting. I mean, this is what we do. This is why we do it, right? We experiment with our profiles until we perfect it. I was thinking about ordering a Yoshan sample roaster in order not to waste as many beans. Okay, so that's the 300 mark. I'm going to drop down to 5, which is what I did last time, right around the same time. Now, maybe 6.5 was a little heavy, and maybe I should have just left it at just making that one adjustment at 65 degrees on the drop, 365 on the charge. But maybe that 6.5 kPa was a little much. I don't know. All right, so let me see here. I'm going to see if I can actually bring you guys over here quickly to take a look at this. Some people do ask about how do you tell when it's into the browning. So I've got a little bit of green, but I'm mostly going yellow. I've got a couple of little like green guys in there. So I'm going to give that just a moment more. Let me see. Yeah, we're there now. Okay. We're in the dry end. So around the same, actually. It was, now maybe last time I might have judged it a little early, maybe. But I probably could have called dry end a little bit earlier, because oftentimes when you're dealing with a natural, which is what this is, you've got some beans that change quicker. Like when you're dealing with a washed coffee, it's a lot easier to work with. All right, so I'm at 4.5 right now. I'm going to go from 4-5 because it looks like, if you see, I'll show you. You see this little, as it comes down, it's kind of the same. So I've kind of fixed that trajectory a bit, but right here it kind of bumps up a little bit. And so what I have to assume is that I should have dropped a little earlier. I'm sticking with this. I'm going to go down to a 4. I'm going to skip that 4-5 because I like the way this is looking. And I'm going to drop to a 4 at basically around, it looks like around the same time as the other 4, as long as everything looks like it continues on. Just a moment. And then it looks like what I'm going to do is, instead of going to a 3 here, I'm going to drop right to a 2-5. I'm going to drop a bit, and I'm going to drop it around the same time as that 3. So I'm going to go to the 4 now. And this is what you do because you want to basically make adjustments to consistently improve your ROR. So this way the roast is coming along, but it's not getting too much heat. It's not cooling off too quickly. You want to make sure that it's getting a good consistent heat, and it's allowing your beans to roast consistently. All right, so I'm going to wait this out, and now you can also see I'm climbing way faster, right? I'm gonna get there earlier. This is at 388 was my first crack. I'm only 15 degrees away from there, which is roughly a minute away if you judge in the ROR being 15 or 20. So now I should make my final adjustment prior. So I'm going to go down to the 2.5 now. I'm going to go earlier because I'm estimating it's got to stick there. 2.5. I'm estimating that my first crack is going to be happening within the next few seconds, like the next 15, 20 seconds. So let me see if I'm right about that. Oh, I just heard one. I'm not sure if you heard that. Yep. Oh, I'm starting to rock and roll. Yep, I'm in first crack. All right. So what does first crack sound like? It sounds like you get first there's it's like popcorn popping, right? You got one pop, and then you got 2 pops, and then all of a sudden it just starts to go. When it's 1 or 2, I don't necessarily I don't call it. I wait for it to the ball to just start pop, 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 pop. Then we're in first crack. There's always going to be a weird outlier. So we were a little earlier, obviously. So it's funny, we were somewhat later getting into dry end. This Maillard, I probably could have stretched it a little bit more. I might have rushed through it. And we'll see if I reach the end of first crack by 4:15. And we'll see how this comes out. This might be, I'm hoping. Last time I wasn't too happy with the Costa Rica, this previous one, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to make the change. You could look at an ROR and it might look like terrible on, on Artisan, but just because it looks terrible on Artisan doesn't mean it tastes terrible. If it tastes great, just do the same thing. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to change it just to change it. We're getting a lot of popping now. I don't think you can hear it because I'm wearing the mic. But let me see if I can turn this mic on and give you guys a, let's see. Oh, it's connected. All right, let's see if you can hear that. I'm at development at 17%, so I'm going to drop here down to 1.5. I'm doing that in order to prevent a major uptick in the gas. I'm still got a good amount. Let me see what this looks like. It looks like we're at a light roast here. I'm going to go just beyond light, but I'm already at 22. So I'm going to call it there. And I'm going to drop it. Because first crack was just ending there. I mean, it's way faster Here, let's take you into this and see what's coming out. So as you can see, if you can see, it's kind of like a light medium roast. I know it looks like there's some dark ones in there as well, but it's just the way that the light and the shadows are hitting. It's hard to tell. Let me take that off altogether. Yeah. Yeah, there's a shadow there. So you got like a light medium roast here, and it looks pretty darn good. The proof is in the pudding, though. Proof is in the pudding, so let's see how it tastes. Okay, so let's take a look at our artisan and see what we came up with. So I'm just going to turn this off. My development was 24. It was a little past what I wanted it to be. I didn't talk to you guys about that. I don't know. It feels like my dry end, I called it late, but it didn't feel like that. So what I'm thinking is that I came in. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I came in too hot, because when you come in too hot, it makes the tail end of the roast go super, super fast. Okay. Now, I'll probably would have hit dry end right around the same time anyway, and the same temperature. But if I had stretched it, if I had slowed down a little bit, maybe dry end would have been still around the same time, but my first crack would have been pushed a little bit, potentially, in terms of time, not temperature, but in terms of time, which would have stretched out my Maillard. And then also then in turn, if I just eased off a bit, stretched out the amount of time that I would have been developing. Or maybe I would have reached a better, like in terms of, I would have reached, sorry, I got to close this and turn it back up. Would have reached another, like maybe I would have reached medium with maybe a 22% development and maybe closer to a 30% Maillard. And that would have potentially changed my flavor profile. I have a feeling, if you look at my ROR on this, I mean, it's pretty damn good. It's a nice straight line curve down. I didn't have that dip here and that uptick here. If you kind of drew a line from top to bottom, it's fairly straight. So that's a damn good ROR. But I'm not happy about the fact that my Maillard was a little short. Now, again, proof's in the pudding. Does it taste good? We'll see. I'm not going to know until tomorrow and the following day. So, yeah, if you're curious, if you have questions, reach out to me.